Test on the audio. All right, I think we got it. I apologize, everybody. Not sure. For some reason, it wasn't adding me to the stream properly. So I'm sure we got a backup of questions here. Start firing away. I do apologize for that, everybody. I'm not sure. Started things all the same way. Anyways, here we are. So happy Friday, everybody. I was kind of going off on a tale about Holly and, twofold tale with her, alerts that can be held for longer term, shorter term, so on and so forth. So, uh, uh, Interactive Brokers has commissions for IB Pro, Blake. So, E-Trade's no commissions, period. We can't link to Interactive Brokers Lite. The reason why it's Lite is because there's no API on it to link to. There's nothing else with third parties or anything like that. Generally speaking, going in and out of trades with IB. If you're at like 200 to 300 share lot with IB, in general, the commission is about $1 in, $1 out, give or take, depending on which commission structure you take with them. But you gotta double check and coordinate with IB on that. I don't work directly with IB, so that's that. So Friday is the way to achieve UOP stick to chart like when they're drawing. Seems to not save, and just throw in change ticker. That's the anchored VWAP. Do we have VWAP as a regular indicator still? We must, right? VWAP. So right here, you can add that VWAP and then set the period. All right. Audio is working for everybody now, correct? Check on the side here. Yeah, on the anchored VWAP, yeah, you have to keep. There's no way to make that. No way to stick the anchored VWAP on there right now. You can change the period on VWAP, so that's the way to do that. No, yeah, anchor VWAP doesn't stick. Sorry, when you change the chart, it's going to change. I don't, there's a lot of chart modifications that are coming out. I don't know if that's one of them or not, and I'm not sure the functioning behind that as far as if they can or can't make the anchored VWAP stick, but it anchors to a specific point. So again, if anybody's got questions, fire away. Being an open forum. If not, I'll go back onto my Holly tale here. Just pointing out that some of these buy signals worked out to be better long term holds. Holding something short overnight. I don't know about that. It's not something I've ever done. I can't say I won't ever do it, but odds are I won't. So I won't. These here, but some of these buy signals, worked out well in the long term. So that's that. And then the other thing I was talking about is, for example, an alert like this, she got out on a conservative move down here on this candle for a profit save. Let's just, use easy numbers. If you had 200 shares, here, and, you're sitting here in the money and you're thinking, Friday, I don't want to take all this risk home with me, but boy, this has got room to maybe run up to here right now. There's nothing in between here and here right now, a couple of dollars up, we'll sell 100 shares, sell 50 shares, sell 75 shares, whatever it is that suits your risk management, and you're satisfying both the greed devil and the fear devil. Greed being I want to hold it, and fear being I don't want to let it slip away either. So it was kind of what I was doing with that here, and do like this here. It's kind of tied to Bitcoin, so you got to watch out for all those things, but try to avoid the noise and play the charts. So, I like these patterns, just kind of see it playing out over and over and over again. And that's what I see there. So that's how that goes. As I was kind of going down with Holly, how exposure is calculated. I'm not sure. Your exposure is calculated by whatever your cost basis was. So if you bought into it and it cost you $4,000, that's your exposure. That's how that goes. Dan, if you night out there is any time of day we shouldn't be using the software. Notice some issues with getting star alerts, history chats occasionally. No, the only thing I can say, Dan, is don't leave the software on overnight. When you're done at night, whenever you're done, shut the software down. We do some stuff server side with data. Generally doesn't affect much, but it can affect some of the stuff that comes in with Holly, and it can affect some stuff with the simulator. But that's really it as far as that stuff goes. So that's everything there. But other than that, it doesn't matter. Just, it's fine. You want to be on at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, something you might want to do is if you're really, really on late, let's say at 1 o'clock Eastern time, come to the accounts tab and reset your connection. All right. If you're insistent being on real late or anything like that, but don't, and don't leave it running all night and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. It's not guaranteed to mess anything up, but it can for sure. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I don't leave it on all night," and I can look and I can see how long you're connected to a server for. So, I've had plenty of people tell me I don't leave it on all night, and then I have to screenshot and show them their data and say, "Okay, well, either you or someone else in your household is leaving it on all night, but it wasn't us." So that's how that goes. Um, the only two spots that you're really going to see issues leaving it on all night is the simulator and Holly. So, for example, and I haven't seen it happen with Holly in a long time, but for example, it could show an alert and a strategy that never came to the table that day. So for example, let's say it's showing bullish pullback, but here when we look at her actual strategies, bullish pullback isn't here. All right, that's just an example of what can happen, or it could show a long as a short. It could show a wrong entry price, things like that. Because, like I said, there's server side data things that we do. And when you don't shut down, sometimes returning the data back to you properly doesn't happen. And then the other thing that can happen is prices inside the simulator that can get all wonky too on you. So those are your two main things. Other than that, it shouldn't affect your alert windows. Definitely won't affect your top list. Should not affect your charts. Should not affect your single stock window. There's different servers that do different things. So that's kind of the short and skinny of all that. So what else do we have here? I think that's it on questions currently. Again, if you've got another question, fire away. And let's see. So what else? So Holly, the other thing that I mentioned about Holly and comparing it to my what I call an automation list, it's not an automation list in automation. So, in case anybody gets hung up on that, it's stocks that I'm curating, that I'm testing stuff to see if I ever wanted to go automated just based on stocks that I'm seeing a possible setup for the next day or days. But what I was saying about that was that a lot of these stocks made a gap up. They kind of popped and hit the alert trigger and then pulled back. And Holly had a lot of that too today. So, we can see here, this was short, but actually this worked out well, especially in risk on here. Really great spread on risk on. Get that alert here. She punched down all the way here. She got out on a profit save here because this got wicky, but that actually ended up being a very, very, very nice short from Holly today, all day long, basically, too. Timed exit here, took her out on a long. That alert comes in here and she just exited here, but kind of, buyers and sellers became equal for the rest of the day. So, made the move here and then just kind of sat there the rest of the day. So it was a lot of that was going on a Friday, especially, a lot of action happens in that first hour and 15 minutes. And then Friday, people are kind of taking off for the rest of the day. Keep going, moving down the line. Same thing here, I do believe. Later day alert here. She found a bounce, revision to the mean, and no accident that happened. So, big move down, starts to pull back up, revision to the mean. And, an all right alert. Nothing crazy. 52.93 on that entry. Sitting here now at 53.18 at the close. So not a bad alert. Timed exit all the same. And again, I'm share sizing based on a stop loss according to that. That's why you see these shares. That's why you see those things like that. So, no real plan behind me in it. And while Holly's wonderful, trading her plan only isn't your plan. So that's kind of the short and skinny with Holly there. What can I press to keep the windows all together? I don't want them to move separate things. So it's not pressing, it's our docked windows is what you're going to need. So what you do is, let's say that you have, I'm going to create an alert window real fast here. Just any alert window. All right, so let's say you've got an alert window or any other window. Let's get an alert window. Let's get a new chart. Let's get a new single stock window. These are all easy ones for me to pull up. So here we go. 1, 2, and 3. These are all 3 free floating windows. All right. What we do is we create a dock. So if we right click, all right, these ones here are going to be the docks that are already created. All right. And they're in the order that they were created. All right. So we want to duplicate this window into a new dock. So again, that's right click, duplicate into new dock. And that created a docking window on one of my other screens that I'm about to pull over. All right. Get a hold of this window here. So here we go. Let's zoom that down a little bit. And now we have that single stock window is docked here for me. All right. We can get rid of that one that's not docked. Right click here again. And we're going to duplicate this into dock. Oops, sorry, that's the old dock. Right click here, duplicate it into, this is the last dock we created. So it's going to go into this dock here. Now they're both tabbed right now. We're going to untab that in a moment, but I get rid of that extra one there. And then here's the alert window. Once again, duplicate. So this is the very first dock I ever created. This is the last dock I've now created. Now all 3 are in there. And I can start to pull them out of their tabs, okay? And now I can start to set them in here the way I want to see them. So we've got this one here, and we can see how it's going to try to set it. All right, I can dock it into that there. I can dock it into this here. So dock together, all right? I can even take it now, dock it like this here, so they're side by side. All right, these 2 are still tabbed. I could pull this out here. I could dock this way. All right, so now all 3 are docked together. Get rid of this extra alert window here. And there we go. And they're all docked together and they're moving together. And, you can organize those any way you want. You want to have it all one dock, that's fine. You like multiple docks. I prefer to go multiple docks. So hopefully that answers your question. And then I'm going to also give you these videos to go over and review at your leisure. So here is one that was done by Brad, one of the founders of Trade Ideas. All right, going over it when we were first getting those docs out there. And this is one that I did. It shows how I use docs specifically. Give you a couple different good examples of those right there. So perfect. That looks like that got you going. So I'm going to get rid of this here. It's slowing me down a whole bunch. And also going to get rid of my interactive brokers. They're really slowing me down. I don't have anything else to do with them right now today. My trading day has come to an end. So again, fire away some questions, folks. Any questions out there, please fire them away for me. All right, so we got those in there. 355, moving into the close for the week. And take a look at my evening scan real fast as it comes in to the close. And for those that don't know, my evening scan, can I talk about the swinging tab on the left? I'm not sure what swinging tab you mean on the left here. Let me. Are you talking about on my screen a swinging tab on the left? Can you comment on the AI KOS trading? Yeah. So we hit a stop hit. One of those ones gapped right up into resistance. Pretty textbook stuff right here. All right, gapped right up, made a move right here, right into $4 resistance. So a lot of stuff going on right there. $4, huge psychological number. That's the first thing. We're really extended on these moving averages. I mean, when you start to see things get extended off the EMA, fast moving EMA like an 8 EMA, you're chasing. First commandment, I don't know if it's the first or second one, but thou shalt not chase. First and second commandments, thou shalt have a stop loss, thou shalt not chase, whatever order you want to put those in. But I mean, it doesn't get much more textbook than that, to be honest. That $4 level, that's right there. We could zoom back out a little bit here on that chart, see where we're looking. Moving into a gap, but it's not a huge range on the trading of this stock, to be honest. And we can see that this level here, it's been a tough level. And to have moved up that much in this short amount of days on a percentage basis, and I know it's only going from around $2 to $4, but on a percentage basis, that's pretty huge. So that's kind of my short and skinny on that. If you're in it, manage your risk accordingly. Unfortunately, it was an early stop out. So what happened is she entered and got stopped immediately, it looks like. Let's see. Entry 945, exit 958. So yeah, on the same candle here, unfortunately, just kind of the way that worked out. And then I was able to make a bit of a move afterwards and never came back down to the entry level again afterwards. So second mouse gets the cheese kind of thing. She re-entered it. Re-entry time right after getting stopped out at 370. So definitely gave you a chance to get in some money here. Manage that risk if you're in it. That's all I could say. 9 times normal average over the last 10 days, 47 million shares traded on that. But it's a huge float. I mean, that's a big float. So it takes a lot to move that. So it's kind of my short and skinny on that right there. Gets into that gap, you might see it try to pull up a little bit, that's for sure. And it's in a sector that I'm overall bullish in, but even that sector I think has become extended a little bit there, natural gas and crude. So, and anybody that's been listening to me over the last couple of weeks knows, natural gas, XOP or exploration stocks, those have been a lot of what I've been trading. The market, still remains choppy. We had a couple of gap up days, and we're starting to move back into the higher end of a range here. Moving, now above that 445 number on the SPY, but all the same. A lot of chop to be had, so I haven't been holding things overnight. So that's kind of a short and skinny on that. Swing ideas on the channel bar. Yeah, let's pull up a channel bar here. See if it's in a dock channel here. Hopefully it is. Move this way. Swing ideas. So let's get that channel loaded. And like any other scan, when we're wondering what's going on here, my suggestion is give a right click. come to the configure and take a look at what you're looking for in here. The other thing that I'd like to share with you really quick is, if you don't know, we do have in the menu bar, if you come to help, we have the user guide you can get to right there, definitions of alerts and filters, and channel descriptions. And when you click that, that will give you this web page that I'm about to bring over for you to see right here. And it's going to go through all these different items here. Now, there are some channels that haven't made the dock channel bar because of layout limitations with docking. There's also some channels that were combined on the app but are still individual in the web. So Holly, AI, Grail, Neo still exist in the web version. While these segments all exist, we've combined them in the app for now and are mitigating them over to do the same in the web. It's just that, the stock market is PC tech, and so Mac doesn't play well with it. What does Smart Stop represent? Smart Stop it's basically an ATR algo that we've created, proprietary ATR, average true range algo, mixing in your high and low of the day. And that's essentially what it is. If you ever see the swing stop, that's a position low of 20 days, something I'm pretty big into. Let's see if we can find one here. But so back to these channels here, the reason behind these is there's a swing component to them. So in the revenue growth, you're looking at stocks that, they have healthy revenue, healthy balance sheets, healthy debt ratios, things like that, while being combined with some technical analysis, in the same thing. We're moving up in the 10 days, we've got good volume over 3 months, your quarterly revenue looks good. Things like that. So, and then your position in your 3-month range. So you're looking at longer term metrics here, as you can see, 10 days, 3 months, 3 months, and your quarterly revenues. So that's how it factors in to be a swing idea. And then, of course, like everything else, it's idea generation, not anything guaranteed. But, as you click through these, you see how that chart may line up with what you're looking at, with what you're doing. And that's kind of the short and skinny on all of those. And you can, look at all these different things, take a quick look here in the squeeze break, so you're looking at different, an earnings hack in here to keep out ETFs. Our floats, a short float as, kind of a catalyst to get things going. You got a position in Bollinger Bands. These things like this. So, and then there's also, percent, this is a custom filter that's in here that I think has been put for everybody, percent off that 52-week high. So these are the kind of things that, give you a more longer term look on why these are going to show up. And then you pull up the chart and, you got to do a little chart analysis on it like that afterwards. So, so that's that. So, all right, I'm going to take a pause here from what I'm doing, and we're going to bring Steve in, actually, Mr. Steve Gomez, and he's going to give us a quick rundown on a market recap here, closing out the week. So, Steve, when you're ready, looks like we got eyes on your screen. Steve is getting set up for us here. Give him just a second.
You can't hear me?
All right. Sounds good to go, Steve.
You can hear me now?
We're good to go.
All right, great. Okay, so let me backtrack just a little bit. As I said, it was 5 days since we last spoke, and there's a lot that's happened in the market in the last 5 days, and I thought I'd come in here and comment on it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to back up a little bit right there. This is kind of where we were last week. Hold on. Let me get it right about there. We were talking about these candles back last week and how they got caught up into the downward 10 and 20 moving average. And I was not going to get bullish until this market showed us something above the 50-day moving average. And a lot has happened. We had a big reversal candle here on Wednesday, I believe it was. Giant gap up, didn't even look back yesterday. You can see we went right up and slammed into the 50 period moving average on yesterday. Didn't even blink an eye. The price action butted through that, gapped up, and gave us a nice high doji kind of a candle close there. Not a doji, but a smaller range. But this to me signifies the coast just might be clear now. Back here, we were under pressure. These last 2 days have really um, given a definitive idea of what the price action does want to do out there. What it didn't want to do was go much lower than it did back here. So these moving averages, I pay attention to them for a reason, and looks like yesterday we blew right through that very easily. So the market is kind of back in clean air here for the most part. And again, that's the S&P 500. If we go to the Nasdaq's playing a little bit of catch up, but I see no reason why it's not going to come up and challenge its 50-day moving average here, probably Monday. We'll see how things go. So I did notice late in the day the small caps were beginning to sell off. Look at that, going to my 15-minute candles there. The IWM Russell 2000 small cap stocks just gave it up at the close. So, whether that's a rotation or not, we can zoom out on the IWM and we can realize that this thing has been, that's more than I wanted to zoom out. This thing has been going sideways for quite some time. So, one red candle is not really going to make a decisive pattern over there, but it is interesting to note that the small caps were not really as much in favor. So, really what has changed since last Friday? The price action has worked its way back through all the hurdles that have been put in front of it, and a definitive close here in the S&P Broad 500 SPY, whatever you want to call it. That tells me, hey, you shouldn't be thinking weakness. You should be looking for strength again in stocks that are setting up. We'll have a new trade of the week for you on Monday. I think it's interesting to note the trade of the week got a slow start this week, but it got going. Excuse me, XLF financials, not the XLV. The financials got going, but I'm just kicking myself because for those that do read the trade of the week email, there was an also ran in there. And the also ran said, don't lose track of this stock, Mara, which I thought was really interesting because that was the one that ran. But more importantly, interestingly, today was the day that the AI saw the strength in Mara and had a pretty good trade in that one as well. So back to the drawing board this weekend. We'll try and find you guys a good trade of the week for Monday. And that's really all I'm seeing out there for the market recap since we last spoke. Anybody have any questions on that? Happy to field one if you do. If not, we'll just turn it back over to Chris. Let's just see here. All right, no questions. Yeah, he lost the email, but he lost track. Okay, good job. All right, Chris. Well, that's all I've got.
Perfect, Steve. Thank you very much. You have a good weekend. Appreciate
Take
you
it on
popping in.
back. Bye-bye.
All right, perfect. Excellent stuff from Steve as always. Always appreciate, for years listened to Steve in the Trade of the Week webinars, and took a lot from him in what I do with trading. That's for sure. So let's see. We get back on my screen here. We're looking good. Perfect. All right. So what AI done profit in Mara? Well, the AI did profit according to whatever you would have share sized. We can say that the alert came in at 46.57 and it's sitting at 48.89 right now. It's not too shabby of an alert, to be quite honest. How you share size would be what the profit would be, though. I have it set up to show a share size of $100 risk based on her stop loss, though. So hypothetically, trading it, if I got an entry at 46.57, I would have had 71 shares of it, and that's how that would have worked. So as far as the AI goes with Mara, let's see. There were some questions. Make sure I got through all those before Steve popped in with us. We were going over the swing trade channel. We went over the smart stop. It's a proprietary algorithm that we've created, mostly ATR related. What exactly is docking? Tom, docking is a way to put all your windows together. See, I have all these windows that are like this. If I grab the top of this header right here, I can move this whole thing like this. And that's what docking is. So these are all individual windows that are all docked together. I shared a few videos earlier on that. Let's see if I can reshare those. Da, 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 da. So here again, here's some links again about docking. This should hopefully cover and answer those questions. There's one that's a general docking one. This one goes over specifically how I use docking. There we go. 1, 2 on the videos again, reshared, and looks good. So, all right, keep it as an open forum here still. Fire away some questions if anybody has some, please. If not, I'll start to piggyback on what Steve just did for the indexes. We'll jump back in and take a look here at the diamonds representing your Dow 30. All right. Well, some people call that your grandfather indexes or index. It's still worth noting, there's still some big players in there with Apple and so on and so forth. And the bottom line is most funds, most ETFs that have any technology in them are going to be very heavy weighted into your Apples, your Googles, your Facebooks, your Amazons, your Netflixes, so on and so forth. And we can see here the diamond's actually showing more strength than just about everybody else is. They had these days where they were under pressure from that 50-day moving average there, popped right back up them. But this is your all-time high in the diamonds, and you're a little bit closer there than you are in the other indexes. I like to look at the S&P 500 evenly weighted here. That's your RSP. All right, so this one looking a lot different than the SPY. Interesting to see a turn of tables on this one. And this one almost gapped itself back up to all-time highs right there today. Above this major pivot line, though, held. Been above the 50-day moving average for a couple days now here, where the S&P 500 butted it yesterday. Yesterday, it gapped over it, held it strong. And today, it gapped up and started to give a little bit back into that gap. So again, this is your S&P 500, but equally weighted. So I suspect that if we were to look at some of the heavier weighted tech stocks, they're going to have closed strong. And just like I thought, there we are. So, this all matters. Again, Apple still got some work to do here. This is definitely a big level for it here. You got the 50 looms there. So we'll see in the next few days if that can work its way back up into there. For good, for bad, for the indifferent, or the way that Apple goes is not necessarily the way that the market goes, but you can certainly believe that it's going to have a heavy influence in it. As we talk about in a bull market, we try to look for rotation in sectors, who's going to take the baton and lead it. And for now, technology is still, under a bit of pressure here. So the trade of the week, XLF, continues to be kind of this market leader here. It's sitting, near and at its all-time highs, an all-time high that it set back here, and then it broke it again here, and then it took it again here, it tested it here, made a new one here, makes a new one here. So this kind of is your market leader among other market leaders right now. Let's take a look here in energy. This has been a leader for a long time for us. So once again, kind of gaps right back up there. Now, our energy leaders are not going to be anywhere near all-time highs because we don't have oil or nat gas where it was back in your mid-2000s when, getting crushed with $150, $170 oil, whatever it was back then. But all the same, all through here, just a lot of strength. You ask yourself, though, as we start to really move on these moving averages, do we get extended? Do we pull back to the mean? Is there a pullback revision? We've cleared this line. That's a big line, I would say. We take a bigger picture look here. We're now clearing areas that are significant to before COVID. All right. So, like I said, we're looking for leadership in the market. And this is, first COVID headlines start to come in this area right here. All right. And it was just boom, tanked really hard, and it's been fighting for a long time to get back those levels again. So, now we start to look back at levels of 2019, what way does oil go from there? I don't know, but it's been a leader of the market overall. So that's what bull markets do. That's what healthy bull markets do. There's pullbacks to the revision, pullbacks to the mean, pullbacks to moving averages. And then you find your sector leaders again. Long-time leader, you got your semiconductors, still under pressure under that 50-day, but they've been range bound for a long time. And, overall, we continue to see higher lows. While this wasn't a higher low here, does this become a major support line? Does this become a major pivot line? We'll find out in the next coming days and weeks, of course. Um, but as we move forward, if it can start to fight with these moving averages here, you might see some leadership come back into the semiconductors again. We zoom back in, we can look to see how your declining 20 here now wants to start to try to kind of curl up. All right. We got this declining 50. Do we get back up that? And that starts to make a move up. You got your fast moving averages here. They turn on a dime just like that. So, and this black line is a position in 20 days, your low position in 20 days. So, with the exception of this move down here, we still continue to make higher lows in 20 days on a long-term basis here. And we had that move up and this move up or move back down there. So that's kind of the short and skinny as far as that goes. Moving at 16 past the hour here on 4 o'clock. So again, if someone has some questions or I didn't answer your question sufficiently enough, you want me to circle back on it a little bit, please let me know. Other than that, I kind of go through a few different things, generate some content for everybody. We can take a look at some of the sector losers now, all right, and where we're being dragged down. Sector that I don't think affects the overall market too much, but your MJ here, just a weird one. You get moves like that in it, and then just a long bleed after that. It's one of those things where it's not exactly a perfectly controlled market. And is it legal? Is it not legal? And yes, it's legal today, and no, it's not legal tomorrow. And this state says that, and this country says that. So either way, MJ certainly not helping out the cause of the overall markets. Clean energy, same kind of story here. So your clean energy ETF was a darling for a long time. I mean, you got real parabolic here, if you will. What a move. Now we pull back down to here. So, kind of a wedge, going to have to define itself here, going to have to resolve itself soon, but that's what I'm seeing there. It's, a major line. We're banging on that resistance or that support for a long time, coming off the top of that there. Sorry, not drawing these lines perfect, but all the same, we're coming to a resolution point very soon in that, I feel. Do one other item here. If we tick back out just a little bit, I want to keep that high in there. We take a look at an anchored VWAP and how that might be affecting what's going on. All right, so there you have the anchored VWAP of that. You have it above your moving averages that I like to watch, and again, there's no magic moving average. What works for you? I've left the 50 on here for now. I would like to remove it and just keep it to a 20 and an 8 on the SMA and EMA, but they're crossing now. That's usually a bullish sign when you have the 8 EMA cross 20 SMA on any time frame. But the last couple of days, gap and crap on those as well. So we'll see how that works out for clean energy in the meantime. But as a position range on the year, it's a negative on the position range for the year. So this is one of our sectors that's dragging the market down. And then of course, if you look here, I'm going to bring my sector list over really fast. The real ugly right here. Actually, right there. Uranium is very strong on the year. Silver, gold, silver. Just ugly. And that's all there is with the precious metals. And I know my evening scanner's been showing a lot of miners over the last couple of days here. Way more miners than I've seen in a long time. But I'm not convinced right now. That's all I can say as far as, gold and silver go. Trade the charts. Yeah, strong over this period of time here, but just, on a long-term basis, just nothing really to write home about here. That's all there is to it for me. We'll see, another day here today, got all these days and, gaps down and then a reverse. So it's still down below what it was yesterday. So just not a sector that I'm willing to get involved in, and no difference in silver. SIL. That's your miners for silver. There's your silver ETFs here. And same kind of thing. Just, not going to commit to things that do this, in my trading here. Another gap down. You want to see strength. You want to see it build on this here. So we'll see what happens. Um, silver at least has some real world uses to it with components for electronics, semiconductors, chips, so on and so forth. That's that. That's kind of my recap there. So again, open forum. So if anybody has something they want demonstrated, please, fire away with me here. Take a sip of water, take a pause for the cause. Not, let's bring in something a little different. We haven't looked at this in the last couple of days here, so let's go load from cloud. We're going to go look at my evening scan, and again, still, if someone wants to interrupt for anything, please do. I imagine this is going to be loaded today. And I am shocked that there's not a lot more stocks on here. This has been a lot more full the last few days. So, your take on SPY after the last 3 days? Is it all-time highs in sight? Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. I'm no wizard. I'm no CMT. I just, kind of, let the price action kind of play things out. The SPY, my personal opinion, yeah, I think we take another shot at all-time highs. I'll be honest. I was asked in a poll recently, what did I see all-time highs? 415 or a chop in the middle between the two, between those two before year end, and I said chop in the middle. I didn't think we were going to take a shot at all-time highs, but just kind of, as Steve mentioned, I just didn't think that we would. I didn't think we'd have such a strong gap today and hold it the way we did in the SPY. Yesterday and today. I honestly thought that today was going to be, we were going to gap, and I really thought we were going to come back down this way, in all honesty, for no other reason than it just seemed to kind of be the theme. Nothing's changed in the world, as of now. There's still, a quote, anybody that's on Twitter, or you follow someone like Stockcats, he's very funny, a lot of market satire, but he said, I didn't realize how many crises we have. There's a Christmas crisis looming, there's a shipping crisis, there's the energy crisis, the COVID crisis, there's a inflation crisis, there's a job crisis, there's an employment crisis. I mean, these are headlines every single day, and not one of those headlines has gone anywhere. And, but market sentiment today said we don't obviously care about those things yesterday and today. So that's kind of my 2 cents in that. Barring, and I try not to pay too much attention to the news. The news is a joke as far as I'm concerned. Trade the charts. What did the charts say today? What did the money say today? The money said we're moving higher. And this is a significant line. For us to get above this line, hold it, to me, that's a big deal. And so I think we take a shot here again. That's my 2 cents there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's all there is to it. I don't get paid for my opinion. I get paid by being right on the charts. I don't trade the SPY. What I do use the SPY for is, what I'm trading, is it, correlated with the SPY? Does that mean I'm holding it on? Am I risk on that trade? Am I risk off on that trade? Right now, I'm seeing a little more risk on any of the trades that I'm going to be taking. I didn't really take anything into the weekend because I didn't feel an edge one way. I didn't really trade this week because of the test drive. I've been very, very busy going over support files and things like that. So that's just kind of how that went for me as far as my trading. And, there's some hindsight trading and things that I really liked and didn't work out well for me by not taking them. But that just is what it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, and I can cry all I want about it, but, no point in it. SLI is something that I really liked. Made that gap up on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. I was watching it here. I like this here, but then I didn't like the way it kind of closed on that doji, to be honest. And my brain isn't all the way into trading right now, but I love the way it was scooping off this 8 EMA on the daily. And I made that move here, and I just can't chase it yesterday, and I can't chase it today. And yeah, if I entered it at any point yesterday, I'm in the money closing today. But that's just not, that's not how I trade. I'm, like I said at the beginning here, the first, second commandment or whatever it is, thou shalt not chase, thou shalt have a stop loss. Those are 2 things. So I wasn't chasing, and that's the way it worked for me. And, c'est la vie. And you can see here, it's on my liked list. I've been following this one for a long time. I've been following this one since in here, actually, is where I started to see it, somewhere one of those days in mid-September. It is what it is. All through mid-September, just choppy the market, and I wasn't committing to holding things long-term. And that's the way I trade. That's the way I saw things. And, obviously I was wrong. That's all there was to it for that. But if we look at my evening scan list, for those that don't know, those that aren't familiar with it, very simple scan that I created. I'm trying to find cup and handle patterns on a daily chart here. The way I do that is some position and range filters, really just two main ones. Range 20-day, I want to see it 75% above the low of the 20-day range. I like to see stocks closing at or near their high, 75% above the low of today's range. I consider it liquid enough for me to look at if 750,000 shares are traded today, and that's an average ratio 1 on the relative volume I want to see, and stocks between $4 and $30. That's where I like to be for most of my trading, anyways. And I'll be honest, this list was much more populated the last few days, which I was surprised about. Today not being very populated. Now, there are things on it that are going to be very extended. I suspect this is going to be really extended. And yeah, that's pretty extended. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that. This has been on here, and again, mining. It is what it is. I'm not gonna chase. I'm not gonna go into sectors that I don't, have a feel for. But I like this. I like this. All right. Great move off that gap and go. And so, hindsight trading being what it is, it was setting up for a nice move, but I didn't take it. That's all there was to it. That was on there the last couple of days, but like I said, I just can't commit into those mining things. Is there a scan that can be used to see week close inside of previous week or day? Maybe. I'm trying to think how we could do that with position range and range filters. I think send us an email here. I can't, thinking off the top of my head right now, I can't come up with it, but info@trade-ideas.com. Send us an email there asking for that. But just off the top of my head, you're going to want to do a top list, I think, because you don't want an alert event with that. So we came to a top list, and what are you looking for again? We're looking for a week close inside of the previous week. So what I would throw you at is look at, let's see, position in a 10-day range. So let's see, and a 5-day range. So let's add that filter. Let's go back here. Let's add this filter. Come to Windows specific filters, and let's expand that out. So let's say we're going to set a minimum 0 and a maximum 100 on the 10-day range. All right, so it's saying it's got to be in the 10-day range, can't be extended or below the 10-day range. And then let's see, a 0 and a 100 on this. All right, let's get rid of that metric there. But I don't want everything coming through. So let's just go with in between $5 and $50 just to limit the data that's going to come through real fast here. Let's just see what we got. I don't like to sort on that. I'd like to sort here. And let's take a look at what that's going to do. And let's bring up a weekly chart. And of course, the first stock that we pull up is a terrible example because of, I don't know what that is. So, all right, going to want to do a reverse of that. That's going outside is the way I set those filters up. Like I said, I'm thinking on the fly here. But I think you can kind of get the concept of what I'm trying to do here. So we closed outside the weekly. You want to close inside the weekly, right? Is that what you said? All right, so I think if we reverse those filters, do that real quick here. What do we want to look at here? But you got the you've got the concept of what I'm trying to do. You can use the position and range filters, or I would suggest you can also do range. All right. And you can look at these ranges too here. What do we got for ranges? Yeah, we got 5 day and 10 day in there too. So, 5 day being week, but you're going to have to use a scan at the end of the week is what you have to do. Because it's counting back days specifically like that. So, all right, perfect. Glad that worked out for you there. Oh, I'm getting messages from everybody to have a good weekend here. So everybody else is leaving for the day. I'll stick around for another moment here. Fire away another question or two here if someone has. All right. There we go. Sorry, just catching up on all that stuff. Sent you email. Uh, okay, perfect. I'll check that out, Mike C. And then I still have to check out that moving higher one this weekend. I'll catch up on stuff. It's been a week for me to say the least here. Um, so with that said, there's that. Kind of cover what you were looking for there. If anybody has any other questions, fire them away. Otherwise, I'm just gonna take a quick spin around my evening scan here, things that I'll be looking at going into the weekend for setups for me for next week. Don't yell at me, please. There goes my charts again. I'm having issues. So I'm sorry, I'm on a test server. And messaging to let the dev team know that the build that I'm on is having issues. So anyways, that's that. This is not a whole lot I can do with that right now. See if I can reset this connection here. And this is why we test things before we send them out to you all. There we go. Now the data's coming back in. Making a fight for it here. Thanks, Mike C. Appreciate you popping in. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. You both have a wonderful weekend. Let's see if I can get this to come back on. If not, I guess we'll cut it for the day. It could be my cue that it's Friday and I'm supposed to go and play some softball or something here with the kid. Happened when we changed the time frame, right? Is that correct? Anybody have a better memory than me? All right. Not how I wanted to end the week. So it's cutting out all of today's data on me, unfortunately. Quick one on charts. Is there a way to make the charts and x-axis always show date instead of time? No, you can't change the axis on that. All you have is scrolling backwards in time or zooming in and out. Unfortunately, that's all we got. No changing how the axis really works on that. Unfortunately. Fast, Johnny. I'm silent in the background for all this after hours talk. That's all right. Take it all in. And give this reset one more time here. And just doesn't want to come back on for me here. And I can't, unfortunately, switch servers right now. That's a bummer. Thought we'd go through a few charts here and take a look at these. But I guess that's what I get for being on the development side of things. And what are we looking at? Still all yesterday's data. So, all right, folks, unfortunately, that looks like that's going to end our session on the day. However, anybody that's here, we do this every single day. Monday through Friday, 3:30 Eastern. I fire up the live stream after Barry shuts down at 3. I go for at least an hour. Some days I do some overtime, some days I don't. That's the short and skinny of it here. So, all right, I thank everybody for popping in. Thank you all for the comments, the questions. Steve as well. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to him on his market recap. And you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you back here Monday.